All right, I think we're ready to rock and roll. So welcome, welcome. Thank you. That is one of the beauties of being live, that sometimes we have some technical challenges. So thank you for bearing with me for that. Now, welcome, welcome. I want you to please go ahead and drop in the chat roll where you are from. You can go ahead and put a comment in there. Also, for being on time, I want to make sure that you ask questions because this is going to be interactive, and I want to make sure that I get to those questions and address things. So this is going to be a bonus for you for arriving on time. Super appreciate it. Welcome. I really want to encourage everyone to go ahead, let me know who's here. I want to know your first name. I want to know where you're from. And then if you have a burning question, I want you to think about, why did you carve some time out of your precious schedule, and how can I make it most valuable for you? In other words, really start putting in some questions into that chat roll, because I want to take this hour, and I do take this hour very, very seriously. So go ahead, drop in some questions in the chat roll, and please be sure to let me know your name, who you are, and where you're from. I see some people already chiming in. It's Elizabeth from Oakville, Ontario. Welcome. Wow, we have 2 countries on the call already. That's amazing. Leanne from New Hampshire, welcome. I so appreciate you guys being here. So please go ahead, put in your name and where you're from, and we're going to get started. So thank you so much for being on time. While we get warmed up and going and waiting for the next few people to hop on, I want to make sure that you ask lots of questions. Be sure to put them in the chat roll, because that's what's going to allow me to make this content real for you and really customize it for you, and also give you the benefit of being here live. Also, have a pen handy. If you have your workbook, amazing. If you don't have your workbook handy, that's okay. Do not worry. Just be ready to take some notes, because there's going to be clear takeaways, and I want to make sure that you write those down. If you can eliminate all distractions, we put some notes around. Make sure that people know, your family knows, or whoever's around, your pets know that you're going to be busy for the next hour or so. And then also, please do give me your full intention, as I am giving you mine. And so I can really honor our time together and make sure that this is impactful as possible. And finally, just really block out this 60 minutes, okay? I am blocking this out for you. This is content that I have delivered locally, nationally, and globally, and it's going to be an action-packed, fun, and a really exciting and impactful ride. So go ahead and be sure to block this time. So welcome. Keep letting me know. We know Leanne's in the house and Elizabeth is in the house. Let me know who you are. I want to know who you are and where you're from. And also be sure to click on the Q&A so I understand what your questions are, so I can address them directly. All right, so let's get started. We want to recognize one other person here. All right, so hey everybody. Oh, it's Trish from the Bay Area. Awesome. Hey Trish, welcome. All right, so we're going to get started because there is a lot to cover in 60 minutes. So a little bit about me. I'm going to blow through this very quickly because a lot of you know a little bit already, but I'm going to make a brief introduction. I'm a certified high performance coach as well as a mental toughness coach, and you'll find out a little bit more about what that means down the road. I'm also founder and CEO of my company, the Zone Lab, published author, speaker, and as it says, a couple different places: Google Ventures, Autodesk, Bank of America, VMware, and Microsoft and Pixar, to name a few. This content that you're going to learn from has gone all over the San Francisco Bay Area, here in Silicon Valley, and it's also been broadcast globally. So I am so excited that you're here and to bring this to you personally and give you an opportunity to ask me questions so we can land this plane in your house and make sure that you have an impactful hour, and also that you come away with something that might just change your life. So I want you to stay tuned because there's a lot of exciting things going on through this webinar, but also there's going to be amazing things and giveaways at the end. So please do stay tuned at the end because I want to make sure that you have those available to you. And as another quick side note, I'm going to make this entire slide deck available, but just be sure to remind me at the Q&A at the end, okay? Now, does anyone else have any questions? Go ahead and drop them in. Let me know who you are, where you're from, and now we're gonna get started. I want to let you know what exactly can you expect from this live masterclass. Now, I have to be totally transparent. There's going to be massive teaching. Also, you're going to learn the mindset and the habits required to transform you to your absolute best. It's only an hour, so we're going to give you the basics, and then we're actually going to apply some of it so you can get started. Now, this session is purely informational. I am not selling anything at the end. Not only am I not selling anything in, I'm giving more at the end. So it's going to be kind of a different type of webinar that you've been used to. So welcome. I see more people joining. Welcome. Let me know who you are and where you're from. I appreciate you being here so much. And then I also want to let you know there's 3 huge bonuses at the end that I'm offering only to the masterclass attendees who are here live, and they're over $1,200. And it's not just the amount and the money that these things are worth. It is about the transformation and the tools that they're going to give you, and I'm going to be giving you to them for free at the end. But you just need to stick around to the Q&A so I know who wants them. All right. And as I mentioned, I'm also offering the slide deck as well for your reference. So welcome. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, what are the core objectives for today? Because I've gotten a lot of questions about that. And the core objectives for the masterclass today are basically down to 3 things. The first one is I'm going to teach you how to next level your clarity, because in order for us to be our best, we need to know where that ship is going to sail. All right, so we need to really understand how to next level our clarity so we can make the progress that we want and deserve. We also need to learn to build confidence so we can make clear and measurable progress, especially in those moments that really, really matter, and also over the long haul. World-class performers are remarkably confident, and you're going to learn a little bit how to be even more confident. And also we're going to talk a little bit about control, as the title of the masterclass is, as you know. So control is so important to your progress, because a lot of times we have big aspirations and big dreams for ourselves, but we don't take control over our progress. And it's taking control that makes us feel most calm, and also it helps us to make progress. And ultimately, this control is going to help us feel a greater sense of joy. So we're going to touch on that one as well. Now, I see a couple other people hopping in, so be sure and say hello and announce yourself. Let me know where you're from. And also, as I'm talking, I'm going to be going pretty fast, so please do drop in questions into the chat roll. All right, now here's a quote that really almost shocked me, and I almost didn't put it in, but I had to put it in, and I'll tell you why. A fundamental lack of belief in our own value, worth, and ability to achieve consistently tempers female ambition and holds women back. Wow. I feel like I'm throwing us under the bus a little bit when I heard this, but you know what? It's true. It's so important for us to raise the level of awareness of our beliefs in ourselves and try and really take those beliefs to the next level and learn how to gain a world-class mindset. Because this is a quote by Margie Worrell, and she's a Forbes contributor, and also she founded a company called Global Courage. And what it found is that our lack in our belief in ourselves is really holding us back. So we're going to address that head on today. So it's not going to be an issue for us by the end of this masterclass. So keep joining. I want to keep welcoming. Let's see who else is here. It looks like Anne's here. Holy moly, also from Canada. Welcome, Anne. I'm so glad you're here. All right, so let's keep moving on. I'm not seeing, there's a couple questions coming in. So if you have one, keep posting those so I make sure to get to them. Now, here's a fact that I couldn't believe when I share. I want to share a little bit of science, a little bit of research with you. Not too much, but a little bit. There's been a lot of lost revenue, in part because women are not happy or fully engaged at work. Now, I've talked to a lot of women over the last couple of years, and this is an issue. And we yearn for certain things in our jobs. And you know what? There's a consequence to this. Now, Gallup came out with a study, and in 2016, upwards of $275 billion was lost revenue because women were not happy or fully engaged in their work. And this really impacts their creativity and their joy and their productivity. So this is something that we need to take very seriously whether we're in business for ourselves, whether we work for a company, and certainly if we're a team leader and we have other people or a team under us as well. So this is a statistic that really could use some improvement. It was quite shocking. Now, I'm going to tell you why I believe it's your time. I really believe this wholeheartedly, and I really believe that you should believe it too. We all have something in us that we really yearn to do, that we really want to do, that's really important to us. And I really believe that it's your time. And if you believe that it's your time and you have the bandwidth right now, then this content is really going to serve you. So right now, I want you to drop into either the Q&A or the chat roll, preferably the chat roll, one thing that is very important to you right now. It doesn't matter if you started it or stopped it or never start or quit. What is one thing that's very important to you right now? It could be a promotion. It could be your next leveling your business. It could mean having a stronger relationship with a family member. It could be anything. But what is most important to you right now? I really want to understand that. So please go ahead and drop it into the chat roll. I see a couple coming in. So let's read one. It looks like Trish says, I want to pass my certification test this year. Good for you. I have gone through many, many tests in my life, and I know that they can be a little intimidating, and I want to really honor you for putting that out there. All right. So you might wonder, why am I so passionate about mental toughness, and why do I think it's so important? Well, here's the thing. That's me. You won't have to see too many pictures of me when I was younger, just one. But when I was a young person in my sport or in school, I was very capable. I did pretty well, but unfortunately, I didn't know how to manage my thoughts and emotions, especially in high pressure or really important situations. And that was devastating and incredibly frustrating. And so I set out to figure out why. How could Olympians train their entire lives and be persistent through injuries, through people saying that they can never do it, through losses? How could that possibly happen? And then how could they arrive in a moment that really mattered and show up and deliver? Now, I'm also passionate about this because that's me on the right. I'll be totally transparent. I was speaking at an Autodesk Google Ventures event. It was a panel, and the CEO staff of Autodesk was there. It was 50 of the most promising women in high tech. And you know what? I was petrified. And if I wasn't mentally tough, I either wouldn't have shown up. And if I did show up, it would not have gone so well. But I use what I teach. And if I didn't use it, I've seen the transformation in myself. And you know what? I've seen the transformation in my family. This is my son, Ryan, has always had a dream of playing on the California tennis team. And it took him 11 years. But you know what? He is incredibly mentally tough. And without this mindset, I think the course or direction of him might have been a little bit differently. So I've seen it in myself. I've seen it into the local and global workshops I've given. I've seen it in my family and my one-on-one and my group clients. And I am so passionate about delivering this to you here today. Before we get into the good stuff, though, I need to tell you and warn you that there's 3 real factors that will instantly stop you in your tracks from you achieving your best. I want to put them out there to make sure that we know how to deal with these so they don't get in your way. The first is doubt. Now, can you raise your hand? Has anyone ever doubted themselves? Anyone? All right, I see Jennifer. Thank you for being honest. It looked like, Melissa, Elizabeth, Karen, thank you guys so much for being honest. At some point or another, we've doubted ourselves. And there's different areas of our life. Maybe you're amazingly confident at work, but when it comes to relationships and having a crucial or challenging conversation, maybe you have a little bit of doubt of how it's going to go. So at some point or another, we've all had doubt, and it's fine and it's normal, but it just won't serve you to you being your best, okay? And the next one is fear of failure. I like this picture, but I feel her pain right now. Has anyone ever had a fear of failure? What about, do you remember that picture that I showed you? I was sitting on that panel. I had a moment of fear of failure. What if these women who've built $100 million companies don't value what I have to say? That was a moment of fear of failure. But I know, you know what? We all have it. It's all normal. But it's vital that we know how to not just keep it at bay, but use it to our advantage. So thank you for being honest there. I've been right there with you. Now, the third one is not believing. Has anyone ever had something that they want to do, but then they just not believed in themselves that they were capable or deserving? Anyone? It looks like Karen. Thanks for letting me know. Trish, thanks so much. These are three things that at some point, I want to let you know, completely normal. And even world-class performers might have these feelings as well. But there's similarities and differences. The similarities is we might feel them, they might feel them as well. But world-class performers know how to manage and use these emotions and beliefs to their advantage. And that's what we're going to talk about today. All right, before we get into this, I have one question coming in from, it looks like Layla. Now, her question is, setting boundaries at work is hard. So that is a statement. What I want to know is, what question do you have and what do you want to know how to do? Do you want to know how to set boundaries at work? So go ahead and clarify that for me. You want to know how to set boundaries at work? Then we're going to get into that a little bit in a minute. So clarify that one for me now, and I will go ahead and get to that shortly. Now, you might relate. These are a couple of things I've heard from so many women. So again, I want you to raise your hand and let me know if you've heard any of these things from yourself or from others. That is, if I can switch this here. Hang on one sec. All right. I want to get off autopilot or survival mode so I feel highly purposeful. I hear that over and over and over again. Sometimes women in particular are in jobs where they're just on autopilot. They know it's not quite right, or they're at a point in their business where they know that they have more in them, but they just feel like they're on autopilot. So has anyone ever felt that way? I've heard it so many times, so thank you for that. Also, being heard and or being recognized for my ideas is really important to me. Is that important to anyone out there, being heard and or being recognized? Yes, Jennifer, thanks so much. It's definitely important to me. So it's very important to raise our level of awareness of these things. Now, here's something else that I hear over and over and over very consistently. If I can really nail something and experience my next big win, I won't feel so boxed in, and that means boxed into my current circumstance. So is anyone ready for your next big win? I know I am. And so I am so excited. Karen, thanks so much. I want you to put in what your next big win is. So does it have to do with your career? I mean, we're talking about a job, but it's okay. Does it have to do with your fitness? Does it have to do with your relationships? What is your next big win? All right. So if we get it right, here's what's possible. We can create a life of clarity, meaning we understand, we're very clear about what we want and why it matters to us so deeply. We can be more confident, and we can have a level of control over our life that gives us a heightened sense of joy. And you know what? It's not just for you. I don't mean to sound disingenuous, but I want to take you to step outside yourself for a moment. How will it affect those who matter most? In other words, your partner, your kids, your colleagues, your friends maybe. And also, so it's important to have that perspective. Now, I have to tell you, I got in trouble the last time, a couple weeks ago, we did this same masterclass, and I said, this slide said, maybe you're not an Olympian or CEO, and we had an Olympian and a CEO on the call. So this has been changed to, maybe you are an Olympian or a CEO, and maybe you're not. But here's where I cracked the code for so many others already before you at these companies, at VMware, Microsoft, Google Ventures, Capital One, Autodesk, Pixar, Bank of America. We've had local and global workshops here, and I've really cracked the code on these things, and that's what I'm going to share with you today. Before I move forward, I'm going to read this other question. Now, Trish says, my next big win is to present a keynote at an industry trade show. That is huge. So first of all, Trish, I want to honor you for that, but I also want to know, what is your fear surrounding that? What are you thinking about that? So I want to know that is huge, but I want to know, how are you feeling about that, and what is a concern? What are you looking forward to? But also, what's a concern? So we can address that head on, because there's a lot to be learned in fear, which we're going to talk about in a minute. All right. So any more questions so far? All right, stay with me. It's super important. If you're just joining, welcome. I see some people just hopping on. Welcome. I want to make sure that you post questions into the chat roll so I can address them directly. And I appreciate your time. It's super important that you stay to the end, because we are giving away some tools at the end, as well as the slide deck. There's no selling at the end. I want to make sure this content's real for you. And so stay with me for another little bit till the end, and we're going to get through a lot of this content, and we're going to be giving away a lot of free tools at the end. Now, here's the thing. You can learn how to have a world-class mindset. A lot of times we suffer from a condition known as, this is me, that's her, or this is me and that's them. And in other words, we put people on pedestals. But you know what? There's nowhere for people to look if we put them on a pedestal, but to look down. So it's very important to understand that having a world-class mindset, they are learned tools. And so it's so important, and that's what we're going to cover today. And if you learn how to have a world-class mindset, you can lay the foundation to dream, plan, and achieve what you want and deserve. Now, this is a lot of text on the slide, so I'm going to give you just the gist of it. This is Erin Smith, the CEO of the Starters Club, and she was basically saying she was doing pretty well, but she was stuck. She knew she was capable of more, but she couldn't get there. She couldn't do it. And so it was just learning how to have a mindset shift that allowed her to get to the next level. So that's my hope for you here today. Now, I've seen the transformation over and over again. And what is the results? So if you stay with me, we have about another 35 minutes. I want to share what the transformation could be like for you. You could have higher levels of productivity. That means you get more done in less time and feel pretty happy about that. You can have higher levels of creativity and joy. Now, becoming mentally tough at work can accomplish a couple things and really help empower you to ask for that promotion that you really deserve. So you can feel like your contributions are acknowledged and valued. And also so you can gain the confidence to take control of what you want and deserve, rather than feel like you're really at the mercy of someone else. And also, here's the thing that I actually think is most important. You can wake up happy and optimistic about your workday and really get more proud and get really proud of your accomplishments by the end of the day. And finally, you can bring more joy when you reconnect with your family and friends at work. So I want to pause there briefly. I'm throwing a lot of information at you, and we're about ready to go in to all the tools. We're going to get into the heart of the workbook. And again, if you don't have the workbook handy, not a problem. Just get ready to take a lot of notes. But I want to pause here and see if anyone else has any questions. So I'm going to take one. So it looks like if we want to go to the question about setting boundaries at work, that's going to be a conversation about influence and how to have an influential conversation, which is it is a topic for another day. But since you asked, I'm going to throw in as a bonus the three most important things, the three most important facts that have been proven in science about influence. You want to acknowledge and validate someone else's point of view. So in other words, you need to meet people where they're at and have them feel validated. And then that will leave them open for you to state your case. So in other words, I understand that you want me to do all this extra work, and I get that it must be pretty important, but then explain to them where you're coming from and what your story is and why it might be not in the best interest for you, your team, your company to take that extra thing on. And then here's one thing that a lot of people don't think about and they don't do, but then you challenge. And a lot of times it's intimidating to challenge up, especially to someone who we report to, but you can do it. And this is how having influence over someone is so important, because it opens their eyes to seeing your point of view, and it has them come to the conclusion that you want them to come to. So you might challenge them by saying, you know, I understand you want me to do all these things, and I get that they're important, but here are the things on my plate, here are my priorities, and this is how hard I'm working. And I'm sure you can understand for the betterment of the team that it's best that I stick to my 3 top priorities rather than take on all these extra things. So I hope that makes sense. There's a lot of content, and I'm highly specialized in influence and persuasion mastery. It's just a little bit beyond the scope of this call, but I hope those 3 pointers helped you out. All right, be sure to drop any more questions in there. I will address them, and I see a couple more coming in, so sit tight. I will definitely answer those. But first, I want to explain that mental toughness, it's really a tool. It's a tool to help you gain the clarity, confidence, and control to be world class. What I'm getting at is that these are learned skills, and I'm so excited to share these with you, and especially in high pressure or high stakes situations. In other words, has anyone ever prepared relentlessly for something and been told or felt like they're totally capable for something, and then they show up and they don't deliver? Has anyone done that? That's basically the basis for why I'm so passionate about teaching this, because it happened to me over and over and over as a young person. And I studied. Trish, thanks for raising your hand for that. I wanted to find out, and I've spent more than 20 years understanding and researching to understand how we can show up and deliver, especially in moments that really matter. Now, I want you to understand there's 3 phases of a mindset shift. Now, if you've been multitasking or doing a couple different things, or the kids are trying to make dinner and it's not going so well, you have to tell them to shut off all the burners, because you need to listen to this part. This is a good part to take notes on. Now, the 3 phases of a complete mindset shift. The first one, clarity. Clarity is really all about defining what you want and why it's so important. This is the foundation of where we start. So important. If anyone has any questions about clarity, please do let me know. Second, as we've discussed, is confidence. Confidence is all about learning how to have world-class tools to, accelerate your growth, and also how to perform under pressure. And we're going to talk about this in depth in a minute. And finally, control. What do I mean about control? Control is all about getting off autopilot and onto making deliberate practice consistently. So does that make sense? This is really, now you have the foundation, and now you have the foundation and introduction, but now you're going to start getting some tools to refine your clarity, to get more confident, and to take more control over what you want and deserve. But before I go into this, I want to know if anyone else has questions, and I'm going to take one more question here. Okay, here's a question from Trish. Certain people or situations at work make me very nervous and are worried. How can I gain more control in these moments so I can do my absolute best consistently? That is a great question. And so we're going to get into this in a minute, and we're going to talk a little bit about fear, because we've all been in situations that have made us a little bit afraid. Has anyone ever been fearful in a high pressure situation at work or anything else? Looks like, yeah, Tally, thanks for raising your hand. I know I have, for sure. So we're going to definitely answer that question, Trish. Thanks for posing that. Now, I know you can have more at work, and you might ask, how do I know this? Well, the science says so. There are legendary and epic researchers who have proven that you can succeed beyond the standard norms, that ordinary people can become extraordinary through mindset, talent is overrated, Angela Duckworth and grit, and for sure I've worked really closely with Anders Ericsson in peak, and I even interviewed him down the corner. And so it's proven in science that if we have a certain mindset and we practice in a certain way, then we can achieve beyond the standard means and do it consistently and have heightened levels of joy. And that's really what we're here to talk about today. Now it's your turn. I need to know, what is that important thing that you must make progress on this year? Now, I'll go ahead and go first. I am empowering 10,000 women to be mentally tough. So it's almost June. I have 6 months left. We're well on our way, but that is my Olympics. That is what will make me feel like I am on the podium and going to give my, receiving my gold medal. It doesn't have to be something big. Like I said, it can be an important conversation. It can be anything. It can be a promotion. It could be starting your own business. It could be scaling your business. It could be anything. So I want you to chime in and let me know, what is your Olympics and what would make you feel like this year is successful? All right, anyone? I'm trying to look in here. All right, go ahead and post. It looks like I see from Trish. And then Elizabeth, move forward in my business. Let's define that. So what does move forward mean? I want you to start future casting and thinking, okay, it's December 2018. What makes me look back on 2018 and be most happy and proud of myself? So really start thinking about that. It's so important that we start thinking about the people and the success that we want to see and step outside of our current circumstances. I hope that makes sense. So Elizabeth, I really want you to get clear on that and go ahead and post exactly what that means. All right, so hold on to your seats, because there are lots of tools that I'm going to give you right now, and it's a really short amount of time. And these tools, hopefully they'll be interesting, but they're not just meant to be interesting. They're meant for you to make clear and measurable progress. The first one is, we talked about clarity. Now we're going to get deeper here to help you have a greater sense of clarity. And I call this the get to know yourself phase. Now, there's a secret about clarity, which is phase 1, I call it. And it's getting crystal clear on what's most important to us and why is the key to our personal success. So before you do anything else, it really is important that you can understand what is so important to you and why it's so important. So let's look at some of the comments here for a second. One is, it looks like Leanne says, I want to start a business. Okay, so Karen, wow, there are some big goals up here. Landing a 250 to 500K sponsorship for 2019. That is amazing. So a lot of the things you're putting in here are amazing. And my challenge to you is, start thinking about yourself every day. Start stepping outside your current circumstance and think about yourself as that person. Once you start to do that, that's when the magic happens, because you start understanding and start doing what it takes to get there, rather than seeing it off in a distant future. So we're going to talk about that a little more, how you can make progress. Thanks for posting that. All right, let's move along. Here's your success builder. If you have the worksheet, the workbook printed out, great. If not, do not panic. Do not run away and go try and print it out, because we're not slowing down for this. Just grab a piece of paper. What we're going to do, we do not have time to fill out the entire thing. If there will be a way that I can walk you through this entire thing, entire worksheet. But for now, I want you to look at the top left corner of this success builder. It looks like page 8 of the workbook, and I want you to write down your long-term objective. What this long-term objective is your big goal or dream for yourself. It's not a SMART goal. I'm not going to go down this path right now, but SMART goals, I feel to my core, are stupid. I want you to think of your biggest dream for yourself that at least is remotely possible. So that's what goes there. Then I want you to write down why you care so deeply, really why you care. And you know what? Chances are it doesn't have to do with a car. It doesn't just have to do with the money, although the money can be important. But I want to know really, why is it important to you? So go ahead, write down your long-term objective or your big dream for yourself over the next 6 months to a year plus down the road, and why you care so much, so deeply. How does it impact you? How does it impact others who matter most to you? And if you want to share that in the chat roll, I would love to see that as well. All right, so you can fill that in, but we're going to keep moving along here. We need to start talking about confidence. World-class performers are remarkably confident. And I'm here to let you know that confidence is a struggle at all levels, meaning at entry level, mid level. I've talked to not just C-suite individuals, but also women who are on CEO staff. It confidence, don't think that some people are born being confident, and also these people, they're not confident in all aspects of their life. But confidence is so important in order for you to be world class in an area of your life that's important to you. Now, I call this the mindset acceleration phase. And there's a secret that you need to know about confidence. And it's going to sound very strange at first. So stay with me, because this is a world-class tip that I have shared all over the San Francisco Bay Area, Silicon Valley, and globally. And that is, fear is your biggest ally. A lot of times when we give our kids advice, or we give ourselves advice, don't worry, it'll be fine. If our kids are worried about a test, don't worry, you'll do great, honey. Or if you're about to go into a high pressure situation, let's say you're going to pitch a company, or let's say you're going to sit on a panel in between the CEO staff and a 30 under 30 who's just sold a $100 million company. Let's say I were to say, don't worry about it, I'll do fine. Here's the thing, and I hope there's no neuroscientists out there, because this is going to be offensively simple, but our brain does not designate too well between do and don't. We don't register the negatives. So if we say, don't worry, don't worry, don't worry, what do you think we're doing? We're actually creating a lot of worry. So when we tell our kids, don't worry about the test, honey, you'll do fine, all they're hearing, all they're registering with you, consciously or subconsciously, is worry. So it's very important that you understand how to use fear as an ally, and that's what we're going to talk about. Now, with emotions, emotions tend to be knee-jerk reactions. Someone says something to you, hurts your feelings. You get rejected. Let's say you pitch a big client, you get rejected. Disappointment. So a lot of times our emotions are knee-jerk reactions. But here's the thing, there's a huge difference between emotions and feelings. Feelings, we have a choice. So in other words, if we are fearful, if I'm fearful about sitting on the panel at Google Ventures in between two incredibly powerful women, that fear might be my emotion, but I have a choice how I choose to feel. And in that moment, I chose to bring high-level energy, eye contact, and enthusiasm. So I chose to have my feelings. So I want you to start to understand the difference between emotions and feelings. Now, I want you to think about a fear or concern you had or have with something that you want at work, and how you might be able to use it to your advantage. And we're going to talk about how to do this. So let's just start with the first part. Does anyone have a fear surrounding something at work that they want to go after, but that fear's been holding them back? So is there anything you want to put out there? So in other words, if you want me to throw myself under the bus again, I'll give you an example for myself, unless anyone else wants to speak up. Okay, so, all right, well, it looks like Trish says she wants to be a good role model for her daughter. Now, it looks like Leanne says, I want to start a business. Now, that could be scary, definitely. Does anyone have a fear? You are all fearless. Okay, that's amazing. I want you to actually tell me if you're fearful of something. And if not, you want to keep it to yourself, that's totally fine too. But being aware of what we fear is incredibly important. That way we can pull it closer. And it looks like Anna. Okay, go ahead and post in there. All right. Now, I'm going to tell you how to use fear to your advantage. Now, this is what is a real confidence takeaway. It's very important that we look fear in the face and ask it to stand with us so it can be a source of confidence. I know that sounds weird. It sounds really strange. It's a totally different way of thinking, but let me explain. There's a worksheet in your workbook called the How to Level Up worksheet, and it's going to take you through how to do this. Now, the first thing you need to do, and let's see here if anyone's posted a fear. Okay, it looks like, Laura, I want to change careers, but I have a fear of failing at a new vocation. Thank you, Laura, for posting that. I can guarantee you're not the only one on this call that has that fear, and I appreciate your courage, and it took courage to post that. So let's speak to that. We're going to use that example. So let's say you raise your level of awareness that you fear going after a new job or a new vacation, not a new vacation, a new vocation. So it's important that we recognize that fear. That's the first step. So Laura, you are a third of the way there. So you want to recognize the emotion that you're having, recognize the fear. And then it's important to also not just recognize it, but validate it. And a lot of times, especially women, I guess men are guilty of this too, but we might recognize it, but we don't release it. In other words, we don't validate it. That's the word that I'm looking for. So it's very important for an emotion to pass, for you to validate it. I want to start a new career, but I'm really afraid of doing something new, and it's okay. Once you validate it, it immediately takes some of the steam out of it, if that makes sense. And then you need to release it, whether it's taking a deep breath, a deep belly breath, or what have you. And then it's really important to strategize. And strategize means do one thing that you have control over. And here's the thing with fear, if you're fearful of getting into a new career, rather than saying, don't be fearful, it'll work out, I'm sure it'll work out, you want to bring it closer rather than push it away. In other words, ask yourself, what am I so afraid of? What am I so afraid of starting this new career? And once you understand that, if this fear were to whisper in your ear, what would it say? What would it tell you to do? In other words, it might tell you to take a class or to get some experience, or it might tell you to start doing research or reading up, or what would this fear tell you? What would it whisper into your ear that if it said, Laura, I know you're afraid of starting a new career, but if you don't want this fear to come true, you must really do this. And what is this? So we really know the answer, and that's a matter of bringing fear closer and then listening to what it tells us and then actually thinking of it as a cheerleader. In other words, standing next to you going, you're going to start a new career, Laura. I know you're afraid of this, but you know what to do. So that's how you can use fear as an ally rather than having it really paralyze you. All right, does that make sense? It's really a new concept, and I know it's a little bit strange, so I want you to sit with that for a second and let me know if you have any questions. Phase 3 is the control phase, the get off autopilot phase, where it's really important to think about this control secret. Take control of improving or taking the next step towards your long-term objective. So in other words, Laura, you want a new career. You have to proceed as if success is going to happen. Start thinking of yourself in that new career. Start thinking of the joy that it brings you. Start thinking about what that career is, what would make you happy, what is it about, maybe how long you want your commute to be, how you want to contribute, what type of people you want to work with, what do you want your workday to be like. Start thinking about that and then take control. Let me go back a little bit. Assume that that's going to happen, and then in the near term, take control of what you're going to do day to day to make progress and make it happen. So maybe it's start researching 10 companies a day, put them on a list of where I want to work, or start journaling 5 minutes a day, or have lunch with one person a week that works for a company that I want to work for, or what have you. So start taking control in the short term and assuming that your long-term vision is going to happen. A lot of times we get stuck in our current circumstances and we get stuck in our fear and doubt. So I'm asking you to step outside your current circumstances, start to articulate what you want and deserve, and then get zero focused on what you have control over to make progress. Does that make sense? You guys with me? Want to raise your hand for that? All right, looks like Trish raised your hand. Thanks so much. All right. Wow, there's a lot of hand. Okay, I guess I'm explaining myself pretty well, so that's good to know. Thank you so much for that. Keep the questions coming in. Now, here's the thing. I want to know, now I'm going to put you on the spot, Laura. What will you do this week? By when? And who will you declare it to? See, in other words, for us to make progress, we must set up an accountability structure, and it must be very detailed. We can't say, I'm going to do research this week. No, what are you going to do and when are you going to do it? You know, I'm going to do research on 5 technology companies when I get home from my current job after I have dinner from 6 to 6:30. So what we do, when we do it, who you're going to declare it to. You have to come home, tell the kids during dinner, kids, guess what? I'm so excited. I'm starting to do this research. Or tell your husband, or tell somebody, tell a friend. But it's important to start socializing what you want and deserve. And you know what? Here's the thing. You never know if you start socializing what you're doing, who's going to come up to you and give you a tip or a tool or connect you with someone. Now, here's how gaining a different mindset and a world-class mindset has helped former consultant, a senior consultant at Accenture. And again, this is a lot of text, but the gist of it, before she was mentally tough, she was on autopilot, working 120-hour weeks. I did not even know that that was possible. But she slipped back into making some decisions about her health, and she just wasn't taking care of herself. And most importantly, she wasn't happy at work. But learning how to get mentally tough, how to raise the clarity around what she wanted and deserved really made her much happier. And do you think she was more fun to be around for her partner as well as her kids? I think so, probably too. So let's see, one more question we have. Okay, so it looks like Anna has a fear of interviews. I live in my confidence, and I have one coming up in about a month. I love interviews, and I can totally relate because you're feeling judged. I get it. But your interview now is your Olympics. Do you remember when I asked what your Olympics is? That is your Olympics. So I want you to go through your level up worksheet, fill that in specifically as it applies to you, figure out what you're so afraid of and what that fear would tell you, and start practicing that. And you can also reach out to me. I'm glad to talk you through that. All right, 3 more world-class tips to share with you. I want you to start seeing the person you want to be. I know I've said that before, but I'm saying it again because it's really, really important. Take yourself out of your current circumstances, step outside of your current circumstances, and start thinking about yourself as the person or the situation you want to be in. Look at your long-term career objective and why it's so important to you. And I want you to do this, both of these, right before bed, because you know what? It's so important. You'll start actually processing these and thinking about these and doing them while you're sleeping. And there's a lot of science behind this that I'm not going to go into, but this optimism and vividness is very important to do daily, especially before you go to bed. And I want you to think about something for a while. What if we had the mindset and the habits to achieve beyond the standard means and weaponize what we already have in us? Can you imagine for a second, how would you do in that interview? How would your business do? How would your pitch do to this company? How would these huge things do in 2019 that you have coming up? To not only crush, but be able to use doubt, fear, frustration to your advantage. And here's what I know. You absolutely can. And if you want to learn how, I'm giving the baby out with the bathwater. I had to put this picture in because it's so cute. But I don't normally give away my entire framework, but I'm going to share it with you right now because I want to make this content real for you, and your success is my success. And it's very important for me to give this to you. If you learn how to be zoned in, this is my mental toughness framework. I use this with world-class business people, world-class athletes, all the way up to pre-Olympians. And I'm going to share it with you. It's in your workbook if you want to go through it. It's beyond the scope of this live masterclass for me to go through each individual one. But suffice it to say, I want to know if you're in. Do you want to be one of the 10,000? In other words, here's what I mean. It's time to bring this content to life. I promised you this was going to be a live masterclass of giving. And here it is, which hopefully this is a relief, because I don't know about you, but I am so used to being sold at the end of webinars. And I thought this would be really refreshing for me to give. I want to teach you how to next level your clarity so that you can start making clear and measurable progress towards what you want and deserve. Also, so you can build that confidence, so you can keep making progress even when it gets difficult. And you know what? I wish I could say that the next level of success is easy, but I wouldn't be truthful. It gets difficult. Anyone who has achieved any level of success, has anyone ever I know you're successful, but what I want to know is, has it ever been hard? Have you ever had to work for it? Or has it just fallen into your lap? So I don't know about you. I've had to work for it. It's been hard. We need to be confident so we can persevere. We're also in this strategy session that I'm giving to you, which I'll explain in a minute. I'm going to teach you how to take control of your progress so you can make sure that it's consistent and measurable and you can succeed beyond the standard means. And more important, so you can have a high level of joy for yourself and also those who matter most to you. Now, there's no risk or obligation. I'm not asking for your credit card. I'm not selling you a thing. I am offering you a 15-minute consultation with me. If that goes well and it looks like we're a good match to move forward into a free one-hour discovery call, this is a coaching call. I'm opening up applications to this right now. And let me tell you something. If this sounds good, great. I can't wait to meet with you. But here's what I want you to know, and stick around, because I am just minutes away from giving away so much content and tools that are going to help you, as well as this slide deck. But you need to stay with me till the Q&A in a couple minutes. But first, I want to describe a little bit about this discovery session so you understand what it's all about. Now, here's what you need to know. This session is by application only. The first step is you apply for a 15-minute meeting so we can understand if it makes sense for both of us to meet for an hour. But it's not for everyone. If you're content with your ambitions and circumstances, as well as your sustainability, meaning are you working in a manner that's sustainable, it's not for you. Now, if you want more, but you're unwilling to put in the work or invest the time in yourself, maybe it's not for you either. But here's the thing. If you're ready to transform from frustration into progress, it absolutely is for you. If you're ready to accelerate your progress towards what you want and deserve in a sustainable manner, it is definitely for you. And you know what? If you're willing to learn a world-class mindset, tips, tools, and habits that I've taught world-class performers here in San Francisco and Silicon Valley and all over the world, then this 15 minutes and hopefully the call after that discovery session is absolutely for you. All you need to do, and I believe it's down in the chat room, my team has put it on there. It's just www.sherylkline.com/discovery. And once you fill out the application, choose a time, and then we'll review the application and get you on the calendar. I just wanted to share a couple comments that other women from around the world and around the country have talked about and explained from their discovery session. Now, I'm not going to read all of these, but this is just social proof that this time is not only a free gift from me to you, it's something that could pivot and change the trajectory of your life. At least that's what I've been told. I really want to bring this hour of content home for you. I want to make it real for you. So please, I encourage you to apply for this strategy session, because this is what lights me up. This is what lights me up, bringing people's thoughts and ideas into a concrete plan and then giving them the mindset to make progress. Because I really believe the state of affairs in the country and the world right now, what we want to achieve as women, we must prevail and we must get out of our own way. And if I can help be a catalyst to that, it would be my honor to speak with you. But here's the thing. You need to be decisive. world-class performers are remarkably decisive, and you need to be decisive too, because I can't talk to everyone. We do these master classes every other week for the next, we have a couple of them left to go, and I can only per each one limit to the first 20 people. So all you need to do is go to click on the link, SherylKline.com/discovery, fill out the application. You're going to apply for a 15-minute call to start out. If you progress to that and beyond that, then we will go into a full 60-minute coaching session. There is no cost. There is no obligation. And I just want to be totally transparent. If you make it that far, then we'll continue the conversation to see if it makes sense working together. But these 2 steps are yours, totally free, no obligation. Now, here's the thing that I promised, and I want to make very explicit. I want you to submit your application. That's all you need to do. Then you'll look for an email from me or my team within the next 24 hours. You'll follow the instructions. And then if you're corporate and you're running a small group or a big group of people, I want you to email me directly. So go ahead and apply and put a note in, and I will contact you directly for that. 3 very special bonuses. I want to honor your time. We're running out of time. I'm going to run a few minutes extra if anyone has extra questions. But this is what you've been waiting for. As if the free session isn't enough, I want to share these bonuses with you that are worth over $1,200. The first is my Mental Toughness Toolkit. So if you apply for this free 15-minute and then 1-hour discovery session, I'm going to give you my Mental Toughness Toolkit. You might be wondering, what is this? It's not so much that it's valued at almost $1,000. It's the transformation that it's going to give you. These are tools that I use with world-class business people and world-class athletes to help them see the transformation that they want, deserve, and I am giving it to you for having a free discovery session with me. I don't know if I can explain any more the value of that or if I'm doing a good job, but I really encourage you to take advantage of that. The second bonus is my Confidence Accelerator video series. This is valued. We sell this all day long for $199. I'm giving this to you as well once you apply for your discovery session. What is this going to do for you? This is going to land your plane for your next interview, your next pitch, your next project. It's going to give you the foundation to have the confidence that you want and deserve so you can see the progress that you yearn for. So again, I don't know if I'm doing a good job explaining the value and the transformation that these tools provide, but all you need to do is apply for a free discovery session with me, and all of these tools are yours. Bonus number 3, we're going to get on a VIP list for my book that, God willing, is coming out later this year, and it's titled Zoned In, the Mental Toughness Required for a World-Class You. We're going to be doing a podcast and a speaking tour with it in 2019, and you will get on my VIP list for that. And now I'm going to open it up for Q&A. I'm coming in right under the bell, so I apologize. We didn't give you a little more time for Q&A. If nothing else, please, please do sign up for these strategy sessions because they are going away quickly. It looks like, wow, yay, Trish is super excited. And then it looks like, Leanne, I'm going to sign up for the discovery session. All right, it looks like my team put the link in here. There's more questions coming in. Does anyone else, I'm going to answer Trish's question. Anyone else have any questions? I'm more than glad to stay on a couple minutes after. I really hope that I've done a good job landing the plane with how valuable and the amount of value that I'm delivering to you with the Mental Toughness Toolkit, the Confidence Accelerator, as well as the VIP list for my book. Please do grab this one-time offer of this strategy session with me. All you need to do is click on the link that's in the chat roll here. You'll fill out a couple questions. We'll review it within 24 hours and see if you qualify for that 15-minute call with me. If that goes well, we're going to move into a 60-minute strategy session where you will get coached, and there will be no obligation for that as well. So it looks like Karen, awesome. Kathy, thank you. Thank you guys so much. It looks like we are a wrap. If you have any questions for me, please don't hesitate to reach out. I am here for you. Again, I want to make this content real. Please do reach out to me. I look forward to having a conversation with you. I believe in you. I believe that it's your time. I can't wait to hear more. Your ambitions are amazing. I'm here to help any way I can. Thanks so much for joining tonight. I look forward to hearing from you soon.